What's up, guys? This is Ian, coach of your Ladner Lanturn, bringing you guys our Week 6 Team Builder for the League of Extraordinary Trainers. We are taking on the Mewcastle United, coached by Doppelganger. He is coming in as a replacement coach. One of the opponents that we have played in the UPBA used to actually coach this team. Mugen was the former coach of this team. He did draft the entire team. Doppelganger has not dropped anything as of yet, and has not traded anything as of yet. It's a very scary team. There are a few glaring weaknesses that I found in prep, though, so that should be fun to exploit. Well, no, sorry, I don't mean exploit. I don't want to. He's a new coach. I don't want to scare him away. I also don't want people to think that I'm a bad person because I'm not. I just want to win pretty badly. I had sort of resolved myself to our match against Wower, whether or not I was going to continue tryharding necessarily if we had won, or if we lost, if I was just going to start bringing meme teams. Because at 2 and 3, although it sounds decent, we actually would not have been in a very good spot at whatsoever in the standings. But now that we're 3 and 2 after beating Wower, I feel pretty good about myself, and I'm hoping that the team can pull off some more miracle run. I do think I drafted a fairly decent team, and so I hope we can continue with that. So Doppelganger inherited the same Z captains that Mugen gave him for the side of the bracket. This is the last week of the bracket, so Doppelganger will get to pick. He only has to play, I believe, 2 weeks with the 2 weeks with these Z captains. Holy cow! I just like stuttered over there. 2 weeks with these Z captains, and then next week he can change them out to something different. So his Z captains for this side of the bracket are Diggersby and Pangoro. I've been trying to get my hands on Pangoro, but I can't feasibly figure out what I would drop to trade for Pangoro. I really want that thing, but I can't get it yet. His hazard setters are Diggersby with spikes and Empoleon with stealth rocks, Crocodile with stealth rocks, and Carbink with stealth rocks. So I can kind of see stealth rocks coming. Typically, Diggersby doesn't run spikes very often because it wants, in league format at least, it wants to be used as a physical sweeper or a wall breaker. His hazard removers are Empoleon with defog, and that is it. That's it. So if I was to run hazards, it would be really good against him because he can't get rid of them except with defog on Empoleon. I have a few hazard setters, so I think he would bring Empoleon just for that purpose, especially because he has Darmanitan. Oh my god, did I not run through his team yet? He has Tapu Lele, Diggersby, Ditto, Darmanitan, Empoleon, Crocodile, Snorlax, Pangoro, Carbink, Floatzel, and Mega Venusaur. I can't believe I didn't even talk about that yet, but there you go, I figured it out now. He has 4 times weaknesses in Pangoro to Fairy and Carbink to Steel, so we're going to try to abuse that with both of our Fairies and our Steel type. He has priority in Diggersby with Quick Attack, Empoleon with Aqua Jet, Floatzel with Aqua Jet, and Pangoro with Bullet Punch. Notable threats on his team. Tapu Lele is a huge threat. Scarf Darmanitan is a huge threat. Potentially Scarf Crocodile is a huge threat. Bandit Pangoro is a huge threat. Double Dance Diggersby is a huge threat. Setup Snorlax, Belly Drum, or Curselax is a huge threat. Bandit Floatzel is a huge threat. Ditto is a huge threat because it can copy me. The list goes on. That's pretty much his entire team, bar Carbink and Mega Venusaur. I actually think I can deal with Mega Venusaur relatively well with my team, and Carbink just sits there. I don't even know what that thing does besides like set up rocks and then explode. We are bringing a ghost type, so he can't explode on us. Potentially, that's a thing. That's a thing. I don't know what to say. I sorted around, before we touch on the team, I sort of threw around the idea of an agility baton pass Acelgor this week, like Focus Sash with agility and baton pass, and like speed passing into Mimikyu and then just winning the game after an SD. I did end up scrapping that idea because Acelgor doesn't really match up well against his team. I was all hot on a Sulgor the first 4 weeks. Now I haven't brought it 2 weeks in a row, but it's still a key member of this team. I think spike stacking would have actually been really good against him too. I was also considering spike stacking because he has nothing that is immune to them. His entire team is grounded. I just don't think that he'll be switching that often against me, especially with something like Venusaur on his team where he can sort of just like stay in. I didn't like a Selgor as a lead option either because I think it's entirely in the realm of possibility that he just leads Scarf Darmanitan and like clicks Flare Blitz. I didn't necessarily like a Selgor's breaking potential this week either because his only weaknesses to a Selgor stab are Crocodile and Pangoro. I think Pangoro is weak to it. I actually don't know the type chart on whether or not fighting resists bug. I know bug resists fighting, but I'm not entirely sure if fighting resists bug or not. A Selgor could outspeed a lot of his team, but it doesn't outspeed the important Scarf threats, those being Scarf Lele and Scarf Crocodile. Scarf Lele and Scarf Darmanitan, and Scarf Crocodile, but Scarf Lele and Scarf Darmanitan have the same speed tier, so that's why I have this written down for myself. Don't even worry about it. So let's get into our first mon. We're bringing Sean the Mimikyu, probably the MVP of our entire season right now. I know that's hilarious to say when we have Manaphy, Megalodios, and Megaren on the team, but Mimikyu has put in so much work. I believe it's tied with Manaphy for most kills on the team with 5 or 6 now. I can't remember how many, but Mimikyu's been putting in work, and I know, oh my god, I contradict myself so often, but Life Orb, I know how much I said I hated Life Orb, but we're bringing Life Orb Mimikyu this week. Not the most standard Mimikyu set, rocking SD, Shadow Claw, Player Off, and Thunderwave. Thunderwave, instead of Shadow Sneak, is there to slow down things like Tapu Lele, things like Darmanitan, things like Floatzel. Be nice to get some status off on the Mega Venusaur as well. Potentially not this Thunderwave though, but we'll talk about that in a bit. Oh my god. Okay. I bring a lot of setup which might be really scary with Ditto on the enemy team, especially Scarf Ditto, but Mimikyu with setup can counter that because I have Disguise, and he won't because he's a Ditto. So I can set up with my Disguise still up. He can copy me all he pleases. I don't have any priority, so he will outspeed me and he'll break my Disguise, which would be unfortunate because he's got a lot of things that could potentially outspeed me later, but I will kill the Ditto and then my other setup mons can deal with him. That's the idea. Yeah, rocking Max Speed Jolly to outspeed the Darmanitan Lele if they don't have Scarf, because we will be 1 point faster. Just being a base 96 will be 1 point faster running max speed. Max attack because that's what we roll with, and 4 in Spadef because he has Lele. This should really be in defense looking at his team, but we're going to roll with it because I don't think that the 4 in defense is going to make that much of a difference. Next up is Cheng, our Mienshao. We can actually bring Choice Scarf Mienshao back again. I've been so against it after our loss against Chris, where I clicked Drain Punch just like randomly on the Cresselia and managed to get my huge threat of Selgor T-waved, and it was a gong show with that, right? But we're rocking Choice Scarf Reckless. Oh wow, we don't have to run Regenerator because we can actually run High Jump Kick against this guy's team. He doesn't have a Ghost type. Fantastic. Feels good, man. High Jump Kick, U-turn, knockoff, Poison Jab. High Jump Kick hits his entire team. He has a lot of things weak to fighting. Crocodile, Pangoro, Diggersby, Empoleon, Snorlax, Carbink takes it neutrally. Like, that's 6 things I just named off the top of my head. If Ditto copies Licky Licky, then that's, I mean, sure, but right, but yeah, U-turn is there for good momentum. He also doesn't really have anything that resists bug outside of Darmanitan off the top of my head. Or I guess Empoleon resists it too, doesn't it? But, that's a thing. Knockoff is there to get rid of some items. That's about it. He doesn't really have a dark weakness, so that's, I mean, Knockoff just gets rid of some items. If we can, like, lock ourselves in a Knockoff at some point and have it kill things without us having to miss High Jump Kick, that'd be great. Because our next, with Poison Jab, we aren't hitting Crocodile very well, we aren't hitting Diggersby very well, we aren't even touching Empoleon, obviously. We aren't touching Venusaur very well. It's pretty much only there to hit the Lele, because Lele takes neutral from knockoff, takes neutral from U-turn, and high jump kick is resisted 4 times, I believe. So Lele can actually kind of switch into that. So Poison Jab is there for the Lele, and I believe it will OHKO with our max attack as long as he's not running HP investment, which unless he's running a Scarf, he cannot afford to. No, he can, because he can actually speed creep Magerna. Or, sorry, he can speed creep Rotom Heat if he wanted to. But that's the idea with Mienshao. Jolly 180 speed with the Scarf lets us outspeed Scarfed Darmanitan or Scarfed Tapu Lele because we're hitting 162 speed. Both of those hit 161 at max speed. Times 1.5 doesn't really matter because we're hitting 162 times 1.5. Notable that he does have, I believe, 5 knockoff users on his team in Crocodile, Pangoro, Floatzel, Diggersby, and Mega Venusaur. I'm not entirely sure if Diggersby gets it. I would just assume that it does because of those catch these hands. That's funny. Anyways, max attack 76 in HP to give us a little more bulk. Next up is Dyrus, our Rotom Heat. This is primarily our Darmanitan switch in. That thing is a hell of a wall breaker with Sheer Force Flare Blitz. Rotom Heat actually takes these hits really well. I had to play against Darmanitan in SAPL, and I brought max HP, max defense, Rocky Helmet, Cofagrigus to deal with it, to take away its Sheer Force, give it a ton of recoil damage back, especially with the Rocky Helmet, and that's kind of how I dealt with Darmanitan in that league. But I don't have the luxury of having a fat Mon in this league. I didn't really draft a lot. Like I could bring Rhydon to counter it, but Darmanitan gets Earthquake, and so by that standard, Rotom Heat is actually the better switch-in because it doesn't take Earthquakes with Levitate. So that's the idea with Rotom Heat. Leftovers for some recovery: Volt Switch, Thunder Wave, Pain Split, and Will-O-Wisp. Volt Switch is my only attacking move to get some momentum off. He does have 2 ground types that I can't touch with Volt Switch. Luckily, Will-O-Wisp covers that. Thunder Wave slows down his fast Mons. Pain Split gets some HP back on his really high base HP Mons, especially like Darmanitan. If he thinks he can Flare Blitz me twice, that thing has, I think it's base 105 HP, and we have base 50, so I'm going to get a ton of HP recovery back. I don't even care if how much recoil he takes, because that's just going to help me out so much. Will-O-Wisp is there to burn the Diggersby, there to burn potentially the Snorlax. Floatzel can't get burned through Water Veil, so I'm not worried about that. It's there to burn the Pangoro, it's there to burn the Crocodile, it's there to burn the Venusaur. I'd rather have burn damage on the Venusaur than paralyze it because it's already a slow Mon, and I don't really need to worry about it wasting turns because it's a Venusaur. So I'd rather just get a burn off on that and get some good residual off. Yeah, I mean, his ground types that can switch into my Volt Switch, I can burn as well, and then all of a sudden Diggersby ability is completely negated, and Crocodile is pretty much negated with half attack. Max HP, max defense, bold to take the Darmanitan Flare Blitzes. I mean, that's pretty much what we're taking with this. I guess we could, potentially we're taking returns from Diggersby as well, banded returns or anything like that. We take banded Bullet Punch extremely well because we 4 times resist that from Pangoro. The only thing that really threatens this is Floatzel, and so hopefully we can make a prediction and like Volt Switch out on the Floatzel if he's expecting us to Will-O-Wisp after he sees it. So that's Rotom Heat. Next up is Air Canada, the Mega Latios, my boy. As much as I actually dislike flying with Air Canada, I do love my Mega Latios. We're rocking Draco Meteor, Psychic, Thunder Wave, and Surf. If I had brought Draco Meteor against... who was it? If I had brought Draco Meteor against Mike, I actually would have killed the Kangaskhan instead of having Dragon Pulse and not being able to kill that, so I'm sad about that. And that's why we're bringing Draco Meteor this week, because, to be honest, I completely forgot that Mega Latios even got Draco Meteor, because I don't ladder with Latios very much, so I don't really know what his capabilities are. Psychic... oh, sorry, so Draco Meteor hits his entire team, bar Carbink and Tapu Lele, because he has no Dragon Resists. Actually, Empoleon's Dragon Resist, but we aren't really staying in on Empoleon. Psychic hits the things that don't take that. Specifically, Psychic is there for Mega Venusaur because he does have 2 Dark types. Psychic has really good neutral damage if I don't want to lower my special attack as well. But Psychic hits the Mega Venusaur really well. We have a ton of special attack, and Mega Venusaur actually has less special defense than physical defense, which is why I'm not running Psyshock this week, because Mega Venusaur is like the only thing we need to hit with Psychic. To be fair, Snorlax is kind of a switch into this thing, but Mienshao bodies Snorlax, and Mimikyu bodies Snorlax, so that's the idea with this. Thunder Wave again slows his team down. That's 3 Thunder Wave bonds. If you're counting right now, that's 3 Thunder Wave bonds right now. I know how slow his team is. I want to make it even slower, and I want to cripple his Scarfers. Surf is there to hit the Darmanitan and the Diggersby really well. Diggersby, I think, takes a Draco at full, but it doesn't really take a Surf. So it also hits the Carbink. Surf hits the Carbink, and it's there to hit the Tapu Lele, but I'm not staying on the Tapu Lele. That thing bodies me with a Moonblast. We are rocking modest max speed, max special attack. I can actually run modest max speed to outpace Tapu Lele and Darmanitan if they are not scarfed. So we don't have to run timid, and we're going to hit even harder with modest. Look at that special attack stat, 233, just blows my mind. We're also working with 4 in defense because he's got good physical attackers. His dark type's kind of bodying my Megalodios too. Next up is Noah, the Licky Licky, after putting in solid work against Mike. Oh my god, I loved that set. It was really unfortunate that he had the foresight to bring Melodic with Haze, but I do have a lot of setup mons, so I don't blame him whatsoever. We are rocking the Normalium Z Licky Licky. This is the first time we're bringing Licky Licky as our Z captain in week 6. I believe we've brought a Z move every single week except for week 3. Okay, so 5 weeks. Because we didn't bring one in week 3, and Licky Licky's been the only returning Z captain in both brackets, and we're finally rocking a Z move on it. I'll talk about that in a second. We are running Own Tempo because he doesn't have Weather for me to negate with Cloud9. He does have some Taunters, but I'm not really bringing... Actually, you know what? I'm going to run Oblivious because I am running Wish on this thing. I hope that's valid. I'm going to validate this afterwards. If it's not valid, then I'm not running it, obviously, because... Wish was an event move for Lickitung, so I do have to lock myself into something. I'm not entirely sure if I can do Oblivious or Own Tempo, or if it's only Own Tempo, but we'll figure that out after the team builder. We are running Double Edge, Earthquake, Protect, and Wish. This combination of stab hits his entire team because he has no ghost types, and the things that resist normal die to Earthquake. We are running the Normalium Z for the Double Edge. This Breakneck Blitz is going to hurt. It is going to hurt. If he is running max defensive Mega Venusaur, this Breakneck Blitz does 65 to 72. Ha! That is a lot of damage. If he's not running Synthesis on the Mega Venusaur, that's even better, because then it's set up fodder for something else. Protect is to kind of get our wishes back, is also to scout some certain things, especially if he locks himself into something, then I can protect and then go into something else to take it. Wish is there because we kind of need the recovery. I have no idea what Z Wish does, but if I look it up and I can click it and it does something cool, then I might actually do that instead of Double Edge. Yeah, I don't know. Wish is just like really good. I drafted Licky Licky initially thinking that it was going to be a Wish support mon on the team, and we've actually used it as a physically offensive mon the 2 times that we're bringing it. But I'm bringing Wish just for the recovery, especially so that we can like stay in on things like the Darmanitan and the Diggersby. We actually take Darmanitan's hits relatively well. We're running max HP, max attack Adamant. Licky Licky has a really good HP stat overall anyways, so just adding to that with our max HP helps out a little bit. Last but not least, we are bringing Cade the Magearna. I know I overlooked Cade in weeks 3 and week 4, but it didn't actually have to, and it didn't even have to enter the battle in week... I did bring it in week 3, didn't I? No, I lost week 3. It didn't even have to enter the battle against Wower, but we're bringing it again. I think this may be the same set that we brought against Wower. It might be a little bit different. Rocking the Shukaberry, Hidden Power Ground, Flash Cannon, Fleur Cannon, and Shift Gear. 2 cannon moves. Shukaberry is there to take Earthquakes from Darmanitan, Crocodile, and Diggersby, so that we can set up and sweep. Hidden Power Ground. Wow, what tech am I bringing this week? Hidden Power Ground. Hidden Power Ground is pretty much the only way we have to hit the Darmanitan, since Magearna does not get Earth Power. It also does not get any water coverage. So that's our way to deal with Darmanitan if we're set up. It's also our way to hit Empoleon super effectively. What's the other? Oh yes, if Ditto transforms into us and he is not prepped for a hidden power, Max IV Ditto, I was talking to some people about this and we couldn't determine whether or not it was Hidden Power Dragon or Hidden Power Dark. Both of those are ideal for Magearna to be in on if he's actually running that. Technically the best thing he could hit us with is Flash Cannon, since it's the neutral hit, but I have no idea Doppelganger's experience in battling, and so I'm sort of hoping to catch him off guard with the hidden power, and maybe he'll click it and think that it does something against me. Actually, you know what? Sun and Moon shows you if it's not very effective or not. Well, anyways, this is our way to hit ourselves if he transforms into us. That's basically the tech. I guess he would click Flash Cannon against us. It doesn't really matter, because with his HP stat, he keeps the base 48 HP of Ditto when he transforms into us. That's the only stat that he retains himself. And he keeps his own IVs as well. So that's the deal with Hidden Power Ground. Flash Cannon hits the Tapu Lele super effectively. It hits the Carbink 4 times. It's the best neutral damage we have against Snorlax if we don't want to lower our special attack. Fleur Cannon hits his entire team relatively well, bar Empoleon and Darmanitan. Actually, sorry, Flash Cannon is also our way to hit Mega Venusaur. But Fleur Cannon destroys Crocodile, it destroys Pangoro, it blows back Floatzel, it hits the Digger's Bee really well. It doesn't we can't really touch the Snorlax, but that's sort of what Mimikyu and Mienshao are there for, as well as Licky deals with Snorlax well too. So that's that. I'm working on Shift Gear just for some setup because I kind of need to outspeed his Scarf threats for Magearna to do anything. 208 speed Timid lets us outpace Scarf Darmanitan or Scarf Lele at +2. So once we have a Shift Gear up, we're outspeeding both of those things, which are potentially the fastest things on his team. I don't think that he would run Scarf Floatzel. That doesn't make a ton of sense to me when the only thing that he doesn't naturally outspeed is Selgor. So yeah, that's my thoughts on that. 248 special attack. I couldn't run 252 because we have 30 IVs due to Hidden Power Ground. So that's why we have that investment, and the rest is into HP, so that our Shuckle Berry helps us out a little bit more against his team. That kind of makes sense for it to be in defense now that I'm looking at it instead of HP. Well, HP lets us take the special hits better too, though. I'm putting it in defense because his defensive, or his offensive mons to hit me with, besides, we resist both of Lele's stabs already, and that's pretty much his only special attacker, bar Venusaur, which we are immune to one of Venusaur's, and we resist the other one of Venusaur's. So most of his attackers are physical, so I actually like putting this in physical defense instead, especially because our physical defense is 115, which is a higher multiplier than the 80 base HP. So we're getting more out of the defense investment than we would the HP investment. So that's the team. Our win cons are kind of negated by his Ditto, but if he doesn't bring Ditto, he kind of loses to Mimikyu. I'm not gonna lie, his team, if he doesn't bring Ditto, I'm really gonna regret not bringing a Speed Pass into Mimikyu, because Mimikyu bodies his team. Just the combination of Shadow Claw plus Play Rough hits everything. It hits everything, especially with an SD up. If that's the case though, then Life Orb is kind of unfortunate. Mienshao getting some good momentum is a win con. Also, the fact that we can just click High Jump Kick is really cool. Rotom Heat being able to cripple some things with Thunderwave and Will-O-Wisp, spread some status around. Mega Latios wall breaking, potentially spread some status around. Licky blowing that Z move and hitting things, potentially passing Wishes into Mimikyu later. That's why I'm not so fussed about bringing Life Orb this week, is because we have Wish on Licky and I can potentially pass into Mimikyu. Especially because fighting coverage is the only thing that hits Licky super effectively, and Mimikyu is immune to fighting coverage. Haha, so that's the idea. And Magearna is always a good win con. It does need a little bit of chip on his team to start killing things, but once I get a Soul Heart boost up, it's pretty much over. Soul Heart plus, once I get a Shift Gear plus a Soul Heart boost, sorry, a Shift Gear up plus a Soul Heart boost up, it's pretty much over. Because we do resist the Digger's V quick attack, we take the Pangoro Bullet Punch neutrally, we take the Empoleon Aquajet neutrally, and the Floatzel Aquajet neutrally. So once we outspeed his entire team and we don't have to worry about his priority, then we're good to go. So that's the deal for LET Week 6, where we take on Doppelganger and the Mewcastle United. So I will see you guys for the battle.